Today I'm making pineapple jam. My son already cut up the pineapple for me, and what I'm doing now is chopping it up with this pastry blender. Any of the outside part of the pineapple, if there's any of that on here, like on this one, trimming that off because I don't want that in the jam. Now, this calls for, and I've kind of made this recipe up because I didn't have, it called for lemon and some stuff like that, and I didn't have lemon that I could slice up in it. So I'm making it be 4 cups of pineapple, 4 cups of sugar, a 1/4 cup of lemon juice, a package of fruit pectin. Now, if you don't have quite 4 cups of pineapple, you can add water to make up the difference. It's perfectly safe to do that. Anyway, I'm just chopping them up with this pastry blender. If you have electricity and have a food processor, you could pulse them in a food processor and get them finer. But for right now, this is what I'm doing. I'll bring you back in just a second. Okay, I've got 4 cups of pineapple with this juice. So I'm going to put it over into my pot that I'm going to cook my jam up. Okay, I've got my pineapples, my 4 cups of pineapples in the pan. I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of lemon juice. One whole package of pectin. And about a teaspoon or so of butter. The butter helps to reduce the foaming. Turn on the heat. I have to move this out of the way a little. There. Start stirring. This needs to come to a boil with the pectin, and then I'll add the sugar in, and I'll bring you back for that. Okay, the fruit and pectin are at a boil. I'm going to add the sugar all at one time. I have to get my spatula and scrape the sugar out since I used my same measuring cup. Little tip, always use dry measures for dry stuff. Okay, that's good. Now, start stirring the sugar in. Yes, this is a lot of sugar. All the jam I make is full sugar jam. Because full sugar jam, after it's opened, will keep a lot longer in the refrigerator than low sugar jam will. Low sugar jam and jelly tend to spoil and go moldy a lot faster. And my philosophy is that even though this is a lot of sugar, I only eat about a tablespoon or so at a time on toast or whatever. So it's not like you're eating the whole jar. Alright, I'm going to continue stirring this. Bring it to a boil that cannot be stirred down, and I'll bring you back and show you that. Okay, you always continually stir. Don't stop stirring this jam. Might be able to call it preserves instead of jam because the pieces are so big in it. Anyway, you can see I think you can see that it's starting to get foamy a little. Don't forget about that butter I put in there, and I'll show you how that helps here in just a little bit. Anyway, you'll bring it to a boil that stirring won't knock it down. You know how you stir some things to reduce the boiling. Well, with something like this that's so high in sugar, it's really difficult once it reaches that 220-degree temperature. It's really difficult to stir that boil down. It's beginning to boil a little. Okay, I let this sit for about 5 minutes, maybe 10. Anyway, so that everything will stop boiling and I can skim the foam. Okay, now I'm going to skim the foam. As I said before, the foam is not dangerous, but one thing it will do is mess with your headspace in your jars. You need only 1/4 inch headspace. Well, if that includes the foam, and after processing the foam breaks down, you might have a 1/2 inch headspace. So yeah, you need to take care of getting the foam off. It comes off pretty easy after you let this rest a few minutes. Okay, I'm going to just show you how I fill one jar to 1/4 inch headspace, and then I'll bring you back when I remove the jars from the canner. Since this is a thick preserves or jam, has a lot of big pieces of fruit, and we will have to debubble it. And my jars were in my canner, getting hot. Quarter inch headspace is all you need on jam and jelly. Put a lid and a ring. As always, I lift it out, tighten it here on the towel, put it over in the canner. These will need to be covered by 1 to 2 inches of water during the entire processing time. It's hard to tell on the camera, but these jars, although they barely fit in this pot, are covered by about 1 inch of water. So I'm going to put on the lid, bring it to a boil, and then turn it down just a little bit. It can be a gentle boil. It doesn't have to be furiously boiling. Anyway, and let them process for 15 minutes. I'll bring you back when I take them out. Okay, the processing is done. I'm going to set my timer for 5 minutes. Let the jars stay in the canner for 5 minutes till everything calms down. Okay, processing's done. The 5-minute wait time in the canner is done. So I'm going to get my jars out. Now, when I get them out, I pull them straight up, let them drip a little bit, take them over to the towel. I do not tilt them to get water off the top. That water will run off of there by itself. If you tilt them, some of your product may go under the lid and ruin the seal. They're already popping, so I have a pretty good bit of jam out of this. This was, what did we get, 10 pineapples to start with?
Yeah.
We got 10. We ate some of them.
Yeah, that's 8 pineapples worth.
It's 8 pineapples worth?
About.
They weren't really huge pineapples,
yeah.
but it's a lot of jam. I have to forgive the way my rings look. They're getting pretty beat up looking. Okay, so the total for this morning is 9 half pints of jam, 1 12-ounce jar of pineapple jam, a pint of pineapple jam, and then a little 4-ounce quarter pint of pineapple jam. And there you have it. Thanks for watching.